welcome to episode 20 of the Cards and Cartridges podcast. I'm your host, Ryan, aka OG Retro. I'm here with my man, Chris, aka Koozie Retro Games. We got a special guest with us today. His name is Conner, also known as RocPokemon on Instagram. What's going on, guys? How we doing?
Dude, good. I mean, live claim sale tonight. It's gonna be a fun one. 2-day work week next week. I go to Nashville next weekend. So if anybody lives around Nashville or has been to Nashville, hit me up. Tell me things to do. Just give me ideas. I've never been to Nashville. Weather here in Michigan's kind of calming down. Dude, we were bad storms for like the last week. Like roads were flooding. Like there's a major highway I-94 that heads down into Detroit, and it completely flooded. Like semis were floating up to the top of overpasses. People were using jet skis in the streets. It was crazy.
Oh gosh,
absolutely wild.
What about you?
Absolutely wild. Doing good, doing well. 4-day weekend for me. I'm going to Chicago, see some friends, which should be fun. Drink some good coffee, maybe check out a few card shops. Nice. Weather should be perfect. It's been about 100 degrees in upstate New York, so we're finally on the downtrend here, which is beautiful.
It's really nice right now. 74 right now and cloudy where I am.
It's perfect. I'll take that all day.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
Awesome, guys.
Stoked to be here.
Awesome. We have some good topics today. We're going to be asking our man Conner. He does these things called Market Monday. Number one, we're going to ask him about, how he's gotten to be where he is as Conner and as a collector and someone a part of this hobby. We're going to be talking about his Market Mondays, a segment he does here on Instagram and YouTube, where he talks about the current market and all sorts of things going on in the current market, really a variety of topics. And then also going to be talking about how gaming and cards kind of transcend generations. And we'll get into a bit more of what that means. We have a really good viewer question of the week as well. Koozie mentioned that to me before the podcast, before we started recording, and got me very excited. So stick around to the end of the episode for that. Guys, remember to hit that follow button if you're new here. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that jazz. Does leave a like, review. Does mean the world. Thank you. But on to the content. Koozie and RocPokemon. Conner, tell us a little bit about yourself, bro.
Sure. So my name's Conner. I'm from Rochester, upstate New York, not far from Ryan. 29. I work in the financial services industry, and I also do some work with startup companies on the side. I am a longtime collector of sports cards, sports memorabilia, Pokemon, Harry Potter, some different anime IPs, a couple other random things. Art, love art, and started my page and my YouTube really in order to build up some of the local community here in Rochester and connect with folks that, kind of maybe fly under the radar, but deserve to be, more in the forefront and grow in their own right and connect with other collectors here, especially in the Pokemon realm now that things have kind of heated up in the Pokemon world. And and then really just to bring some of my knowledge of financial markets and investing to a space that has had a lot of, I guess, attention on it as far as like the money and investing aspect, and trying to help people just like not make bad decisions with their money, try to protect them from themselves, kind of like I do with my clients. So that's me.
Awesome, dude. That's a great answer. Number one. Kooz, do you have any questions right off the bat? I have a couple.
So I guess you kind of already answered kind of why you started Market Mondays. How many episodes have you done now? About 9 or 10?
I think I'm on 8. Yeah, 8? Like 8. So closing in. People they were telling me, man, you got to get in front of the camera. Like you gotta, because I would have conversations with people and they, YouTubers that I know, other content creators, and they were just kind of pushing me to like, not necessarily just get my face out there, but at least get some words out there. So decided to just give it a go. Kind of started with the no face whiteboard videos. And then, I went on a live stream with PokeGal, and I've been on another podcast as well. So I decided it was time to show my face and kind of bring more of that personal connection to my page. So yeah, we're about 2 months into that. It's been
Awesome.
super fun. Have had really great feedback, which is super encouraging for me, because sometimes I think a lot about the episodes and almost overthink them. And sometimes I just hit record and see what comes out. No edits, no nothing, just trying to, bring the truth bombs, right?
That's what we do here.
Yeah,
we don't
absolutely. I think we're all in a space where we can speak super truthfully about this hobby, which is super important, especially for new people entering. So
Yeah,
that's what gets me jazzed up.
so about the market I guess the overall market conditions right now. I would say probably 2 months ago, we were at an all-time high for Pokemon. It was insane. And I would say now, I think you've said in a recent Market Monday, we've come off that and we're in a little bit of a downturn, which is normal markets and all that stuff. How do you think the introduction of this new 25th anniversary set celebrations, what do you think that will do to the whole Pokemon card market?
Sure. So what I guess my gut reaction when I saw kind of what was coming out, and as I've thought about this set, is I think it's going to be something that's going to be, and this ties well to our topic later about transcending generations. I think it's going to pull a lot of new people into the hobby, because it seems like it's going to be a very easy, approachable set to collect with a lot of diverse products across a bunch of diverse price ranges. And also a kind of smaller set, which I think has been hard for some collectors who have come into the hobby in the, let's say, the last 4 to 5 years since evolutions, where you've got these 200, 300 plus card sets, and it's just people don't know what to do. It's like paralysis by analysis. It's like, what do I collect? Where do I go? Where do I even start? And everyone who gives them an opinion usually has a vested interest. So I think it's going to be really great for new entrants into the hobby. SM Pratt just did a video on this, and he said that historically reprints like this, where it's old art being put out as new cards, doesn't hurt the old cards, doesn't hurt the current market. If nothing, it just, helps with some of that demand side. So that's where I'd say the 25th anniversary set's going to take us. That being said, there's kind of this weird position we're in, right, where some people say, hey, we're in the summer, the reopening, people are spending less time on cards, less time on their computers, spending money on travel and trips and going out with friends. And so there'll be the summer lull, and then we'll go into like this more hype period in the fall. And collectibles are seasonal by nature in that regard, right? People are, they go inside, they spend more time inside on their computers, they're buying things for the holidays, all of that. But, at the same time, a lot of that can be baked into the current market, right? It's like we've retraced significantly from where prices across the board. I mean, there's certain exceptions where kind of there's like true rarity that has held price or even moved up. But it's almost like, does the expectation of that like more hype period when the 25th anniversary comes out, is that keeping like a floor in the market right now? So it's really super interesting, a lot from like the psychological aspect of the market too right now. But I do overall think the 25th anniversary set is going to be, while it doesn't blow me away yet until we see what's there, I think it will be net positive, as I like to say, for the hobby. So how about you guys?
I agree there. And I really agree with you when you said like the collecting lows when it's seasonal. I see, obviously, speaking from a video game reselling point of view, I see prices go down in the summer on a lot more of this like common stuff. And the biggest reason why I see prices go down, which I believe is in the garage sale, people are having in the summer, people are having garage sales, and a lot of the resellers going out garage sale or going thrifting or whatever. And then they're finding more of this stuff, just bringing more supply into the market. So you look at copies like really common stuff like Mario Kart, Wii Sports, things like that, all go down in price in the summer just because there's more out there. But then you do get into the Q4 season where people are buying Christmas presents, or there's not as much supply because people can't go garage selling. You don't want to go out and hunt for games in the snow. So I think that's one thing that I agreed with what you said in the collecting lows. I mean, it just goes like that with cards too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
especially if they're on auction. Especially if they're on auction,
Yeah.
because things get missed a lot in that world during the summer. You know, people
Yeah.
are just they're on
Yeah.
about more.
Yeah, quick
100%.
reselling tip. You can schedule your auctions on eBay to start at certain times. So what I like to do is I like to schedule them to like start usually on like a weekend, maybe like a Sunday night at like 10 o'clock or so, 10 o'clock Eastern. Because not a lot of people aren't doing stuff at 10 o'clock Eastern on a Sunday night, just kind of getting them just relaxing and starting the Monday week. If you have something ending at 3 o'clock on a Wednesday, the majority of the US population is working and not gonna be able to check eBay and hit an auction.
Yeah, totally agree. Do the same thing. Good tip.
Absolutely. I feel like we took so many different tangents there. My brain went all over the place. I was gonna ask you, Conner, though, like, how did you evolve? And I like the word evolve because it has to do directly with Pokemon. But how did you evolve into the collector you are today? Like,
Sure.
what? Because you're someone that we all have our like particular, I'd say, like styles or like tastes or whatever you want to say when we collect. How did you come to what you do today?
Yeah, so it's interesting because like I was not the most athletic kid as a child, but I was an athlete, played a bunch of sports, huge sports fan. My dad was always a coach. He was a huge sports guy. So whether it was football or t-ball or soccer or wrestling or whatever, I was always involved in sports. Like my dad would get us, and in conjunction with my uncle, who's also a big sports guy, get us like booster boxes of sports cards for Christmas growing up. So I had like the top set that had Carmelo and LeBron and Dwayne Wade and all those rookies. Like I have that box. Yeah, dude, I have the box still.
Do you have those rookies?
I sold the LeBrons. I have a couple of the other ones. They're not in the most amazing condition. Let's say they've been in that same box.
It's still awesome. They're your childhood ones.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, all my sports stuff somehow, all my sports stuff and my Harry Potter cards survived from my childhood. But basically, I don't think any of my Pokemon have. My mom is selling her
all my
house,
sports stuff survived. I have so many baseball cards.
Yeah.
What about 2011? You got the Mike Trout rookie?
No. See that goes to the evolution. So like, it was sports cards, sports memorabilia. Then I loved Pokemon and Harry Potter, so I collected Harry Potter stuff. I collected Pokemon cards, and then I kept all my sports memorabilia. Right. Like I always viewed it as like we always viewed it as like this invaluable collection. Like it meant a lot to me from, who it came from, what it was. And it still is to this day. And I have a lot of those items that are just like super important to me that will never leave. But I would say as I got older, I got more into video games. I got, kind of in and out of Pokemon. And then really got into art really heavily. I'd say starting in like college, even with just like cheap prints of artists I like and stuff like that, going to a lot of like local art shows and all that. And that's influenced by my mom, who's a huge art collector. And so that's what I think really brought me back into Pokemon, is I started to truly appreciate Pokemon for the art, and view all of my pieces as really tiny pieces of art. Right. So, like you guys know, my favorite artist is Himeno. Like I resonate very specifically with certain artists in the TCG. So I would say that's it. It all comes full circle, right? Because I still love Pokemon Yellow. I still love Harry Potter. I still love Pokemon, but I don't really collect the sports cards as much anymore. It's just not super appealing to me, except for like specific niche things, like that Derek Jeter set we opened, Ryan.
Yeah,
that was cool. Stuff like that connects me to my dad, my childhood. So
awesome. So you said you like it for like the art aspect is a big thing that pulls you in?
Yeah, it really does. Like I won't like buy or own or have a card in my collection that's not like aesthetically pleasing to me. Like,
Now
and that's why. Go ahead.
I was say looking at it from like a video game point of view, like what is your stance on like video games, and are you only collecting like complete in box stuff because there's more art with it?
I have some cartridges, but for me, again, it's about like if it's a cartridge, it's about the label and how that like pulls me back to my childhood or those memories. And I like to, like, when I look down at it on my bookshelf, I enjoy it visually. So I don't have as many video games. A lot of the video game stuff is more like Pokemon Yellow, both in English and Japanese CIB. I have like Japanese Snap because I thought it was really cool. Like some of that stuff that's kind of newer to my collection is really like for that nostalgia's sake. I mean, they're great to look at, but not as much. Like, I'm not a loose cartridge guy. Like, it's not like a big thing for me to collect those. Definitely like box art I like is definitely a draw.
That's awesome.
Cool. Did you have any other questions, Kuzi, in like that realm?
Not really. I think those were some great high level questions, just kind of getting his thoughts on what he does in his Market Mondays and just kind of how and where he came from as a collector.
Cool. Let's talk about how Pokemon and gaming transcend generations. And I'll explain a little bit. I was with my fiance's cousin. We were celebrating his birthday the other night. He's like turning 10 years old, right? And so we're all in our 20s. So this kid's 10. I had no idea he was into Pokemon or anything. He was showing me his gaming setup. He's like, "Oh, do you want to see my gaming setup?" Like he knows like I'm a game, like I've showed him my Switch and stuff. We played Switch together. So he knows I like play video games. And so he shows me his gaming setup, and it was really cute. It was like he had a monitor like set up on his like what's it called, dresser, and like Xbox Series X, like sick console. But it was just like such a funny like set. It was awesome. But then he's like, "Oh, but like let me show you my Pokemon cards." I was like, "No way, you collect Pokemon cards?" I was like, "No, I didn't even know you did this." He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Dude, I collect Pokemon cards." He's like, "What?" So confused. I'm like, yeah. Let me see what you got, buddy. So
this 26-year-old loser, I call it cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
Collecting Pokemon cards.
Yeah. Nah, he's cool. He's like, but he ended up having a beat to crap Dark Charizard Hollow, Japanese Dark Charizard Hollow. But it was
Nice.
But I was still impressed. I was like, let's go. And a really nice, actually like a good condition, Team Rocket Returns Dark Persian EX Hollow. Like, that's
nice.
Yeah, it's a good card.
That's a cool card.
It's a really sick card. I was like, whoa. Yeah. So he had a lot of cool stuff. Then he had some fake cards. I was like, of course, like that's an unfortunate kid. Like, yeah. Like kids these days are just getting scammed. I got to upgrade to remove the 40-minute time limit. I'll do that. But apparently I didn't do. I'll cut this out. I don't know.
I saw that
we'll just hop back in. Yeah, I thought it was me for a second. I was like, oh no.
Is it because we have 3 people instead of us 2?
Yeah, exactly.
Might be. Yeah.
Let me see.
Don't pay for it if you have to. We'll just hop out and hop back in.
Yeah, we'll just hop out and hop back in. Yeah, you can snip it in.
Oh yeah, I guess that works, right?
Yeah. All
right.
Because it'll save that recording and then it'll start a new recording.
Okay. It just takes time to convert the recording in between, but I guess that's okay. We won't be able to hop back in right away, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I could always send a new Zoom link and then send it to you.
That might work. Oh. All right. Yeah, let's just try and do, I don't know.
Keep going. It'll kick us out. Then we'll just text in the group chat and figure out what we want to do.
All right. Fair. Yeah, I think we'll probably have time to do that anyway, to jump back in. All right.
Yep.
Where were we?
You had cards. Persian.
All
Fake
right,
cards.
here we go. Sorry about that, guys. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. Zoom trying to kick us out, but we're back. Anyways, Cousin has some really cool cards, but we're talking about how video games and cards transcend generations. And I got this crazy thought in my head while I was there. I was like, it's insane to me that I got into like video games and cards because, someone who was older than me shared them with me and like got me really into them. Like when I got my cards and got my Game Boy, the only reason I got really into them is because older kids like showed me how to play. Like I had like older cousins and older friends who like showed me how to play like Pokemon Red. Like the only reason I got through that game was because of like kids that knew more than me. And it was like maybe not a different generation at the time, but now it is like this like our cousin Joey, he's 10 years old and he has this dark Charizard card that was popular. Like kids that were 10 years old 20 years ago.
Where did
when
he
that
get
card,
that from? Was it a
he
hand-me-down?
I guess he said he traded for it to some kid. So I guess maybe some kid had it from a hand-me-down. But yeah, it's like it was just crazy to think that he had this card so this kid's 10 years old and 20 years
He's
ago
holding a card that's 2 to 3 times as old as he is, and he loves it.
bro. And he loves it, and it's so cool. And like it's like the prize centerpiece, and it's sleeved, even though it's a shitty card, it's like sleeved in a top loader. I'm like, yo, this is so cool, bro. And it's like it just made me think like there aren't many hobbies that so consistently can just go between generation. Like, and I don't know, do you guys have any cool like experiences with that, like sharing hobbies with older, younger people in your family or friends?
The biggest thing I can remember, so a lot of like my cousins, things like that, weren't into like sports cards or Pokemon cards. So I never really remember like opening cards. There might have been a few knockoff incidences where my cousin would like bring his binder to like Thanksgiving or something like that, and we would look through it. But the biggest thing I can remember is like Guitar Hero, and like whoever like in my family had like Thanksgiving or Christmas, or the older cousins would bring over like PS2 and Guitar Hero stuff. We'd rock out on Guitar Hero. But one thing I wanted to say with this was, so I think that when you talked about generational like collecting, the biggest thing I thought of was like hand-me-downs. So like we got like the PS1 from my grandma, or we got like a PS2 from like my other cousins. And usually when they're done with this stuff, so like let's give it to the younger cousins. And something that's cool now is like they gave it to us, and maybe we didn't collect them, but as we're a little bit older, we got back into it and we collect it. And family we don't see every day or talk to every day, you kind of bring up that like, oh yeah, I'm now collecting this stuff that you gave me as a kid. And then they haven't thought about it in 15 years or so. And they're like, whoa, that's so badass. And they go through and you guys just have this like crazy, like reminiscent moment of like when you guys were younger. Like that's always the biggest, coolest thing to me.
That's awesome.
Cool.
Because like one cousins had, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say like, because my one cousin's like, they live in Indiana. I talk to him somewhat, but I don't see him often. And like, he texted me the other day and he's like, dude, like, I remember like you collect video games, like all my Saturn stuff's still sitting in my dad's garage. He like went like sent me a picture like of his Saturn stuff when he was a kid. And I was like, one, that's cool that you had a Saturn as a kid. And two, it's even cooler that you still have it.
Yeah. And three, can I buy it off of you?
Yeah. Yeah.
And three, let me get that.
I always remember, so like my uncle used to help put on these huge sports card shows in Rochester, or like when I was a kid, it seemed huge, right? And that's exactly the thing. Like I was like a 7-year-old kid, like buying sports cards, like meeting pro athletes who would come and do signings, like random washed out guys would come like sign stuff, like late 90s, early 2000s. And like there were like 75-year-old dudes there. And it's amazing, like how it's just like at every level, it's like passed on from generation to generation to generation. And then for Pokemon, for me, I have no kids, don't plan on doing that anytime soon, but I have a goddaughter, and like her parents like don't collect Pokemon cards or anything like that, but they play Pokemon Go. and they
cool.
like got back into it. And I was down there visiting, and we were like walking the kid and the dog playing Pokemon Go. And like the wife, like my buddy's wife, the mother of my goddaughter, like loves like Eevee and Evolution. So I'm like sending her like the new stuff that's come out and like the Evolutions cards, and like, and I know like that daughter, like, because there's like Pokemon in that family, I'll be like getting her stuff because I like get her.
It's
I just
gonna
like to
happen.
get her
She's
gifts.
gonna
It's like
get hooked on the
inevitable.
cards. Yeah.
Yeah, Eevee plushes for days, and then she'll be
That's
hooked.
so awesome.
So
I think
it's it speaks so much to how like this IP is so strong and has
that's what I was
just
gonna
like
say.
transcended time, man. And it's just, I feel like it's getting stronger and stronger despite like some of the negatives that like we see in the hobby, especially being like involved in like the financial aspects and understanding what's going on with the influencers and all this BS. But when you break it down to the core, like it's cardboard and characters and anime and video games and just like pure, like kind of like pure joy, really, right? Like a pure childhood joy that we get to experience just like a little bit every day, every time we look at a card. And that's something people want to carry with them throughout their whole life and share with everyone that they have in their life. So that's why I think it like just spans across these generations, unlike any other collectible really or hobby that's out there.
And that's awesome that you put it that way. And like, as we get older and we understand markets and financial standpoints, we do have the like nostalgia, like to this stuff. We enjoy playing it. If it's video games, we enjoy the art of it for cartridges or cards. But then there's also that financial aspect of it where you know this stuff has money and you try to put your knowledge to like, okay, what has the potential to go up in value? Or even like doing what like Ryan and I do, like buying lots, keeping what we want for our collection, reselling what we don't, like building our collections for free. So the fact that there's like an investment and a financial standpoint too is just that much better.
Yeah. And that comes like twofold, right? Like one, you can learn to be like a good seller and progress the hobby forward by not gouging people and being fair and being kind and giving people good deals and just like being a good business person while still doing okay for yourself. And then there's like the other aspect of it for a lot of people of like being able to create something generational from a wealth standpoint, even if it's just like a small part of their overall asset pool, like being able to like think that there's something you can pass on to your kids that has value that they can both appreciate, but like it can be part of like a nest egg for them for the future is cool. We probably won't ever see a boom like we have now. And we're probably way pulled forward from what we really should be on the prices of a lot of these things. But if it can trend from here a little bit down, but maybe with inflation over time, it gives people a really cool tool to pass on wealth to their kids.
I think that's a good point.
This hobby transcends the generations, and it's cool for a variety of reasons. And I think the last thing we touched on was like the nest egg, like kind of transfer of wealth opportunity for people, which is kind of like a cool like perk if you really like love the hobby and you're a long-term collector, right? Something you can pass on to your kids, share with your kids. You know, I think it's really cool. Like, what do you guys think of this? Like, I think it's gonna be really cool for kids to grow up seeing their parents like open Pokemon as adults and like collect slabs as adults. Like, do you think it'll change how kids collect? Like, do you think kids from a younger age now will start collecting slabs the way like we collected binders?
100%.
Yeah.
Because Joey, this kid, he knew what a graded card was before I even said anything. And I was super shocked because this is someone that clearly is just kind of casual. I feel like a lot of kids are kind of casual about Pokemon these days. My friend that I was talking to on Instagram said something that I was like, well, you're kind of right. Like, kids today have so many more options than we did when we were kids that it's like to grab a kid's attention and to keep it these days is like pretty rare. So like for a kid to get really into Pokemon, I feel like it's harder than it was back in the day. But besides that, Joey knew what a graded card was, which I thought was just kind of incredible, because he was talking about watching and it's because of a YouTuber, you know, he was watching a YouTuber and he's like talking about graded cards, like, wow, yeah, like they're pretty cool, right? Like whatever. So it's, I think, yeah, you're gonna see if I knew what graded, and I did, technically I had a couple graded sports cards I managed to get somehow when I
Same.
was a kid.
Yeah. I have random ones. I have a
I
Champ
was like,
Bailey
how did I
signed
get this?
like by
Yeah.
companies that don't exist anymore.
Right,
Grading
right.
I think
companies.
even like some like mystery boxes will do like one graded card per mystery box nowadays. So I
yeah.
wonder if you guys got those as a kid.
It
It's
was
usually
kinda
some like
that.
off-brand company with some off-brand card, like a Patrick Mahomes.
100%.
Like they'll advertise it as like a Patrick Mahomes card in there, and it's just some crappy Patrick Mahomes card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like one of the biggest deal cards I got for Christmas one year was like the Shaquille O'Neal card, but it was just like, it wasn't even a one touch. It was like a screw down. Like,
Yeah.
and that was like the big thing, you know, it wasn't like we did a lot of graded cards back then. But part of me thinks that's a really good point about like how kids have so many options, right? And I think, do you think that's why like they have to go more and more over the top with some of the modern sets? Like just like with all the colors and the texture and kind of always one-upping themselves?
Well, I think not only are the kids like that, but I think the general population kind of is going towards that kind of, and it might not, like, we might feel a little bit differently, but I think we're the minority if you do feel that way. I think a lot of people do like kind of the more flashy art styles, the like, whoa, that's cool kind of thing, like that's so crazy, that rainbow's crazy, and like, and
that's why I hope 25th anniversary will like, it'll put like an anchor in a good way in the hobby, because it's like, it's the old art with maybe like a little bit of flair, right? We saw like kind of that, you know, the sparkle, yeah, the kind of confetti sparkle. Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Conner, I wanted to get your thoughts on, so I guess I would say like Champions Path and Vivid Voltage were when like Pokemon was like, oh shit, like this is the thing, and everybody was scalping the hell out of Champions Path and Vivid Voltage. And then we saw it kind of start to decline with Shining Fates, decline even more with Battle Styles than where it is with Chilling Reign right now. Do you think these sets like Shining Fates, more specifically Battle Styles and Chilling Reign, factored into the downturn of Pokemon just because there wasn't that hit card that everybody's chasing, like a Charizard? I mean, there was a Charizard in Shining Fates, but that's the third time we've seen that art of a Charizard pretty much.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, I think Pokemon coming a little bit back down to earth was inevitable. And I think just because it's like weird, because like the popularity is there, right? Like a lot of people open a lot of these sets, even like a Battle Styles that was printed to demand, right? But people got caught where they had to take their full, they over asked for their allocations because they were so used to getting nothing. And then in order to be able to still get the right numbers from their distributors for like Evolving Skies and 25th anniversary, they had to eat everything that they got for Battle Styles, and they got a lot. And similar for Chilling Reign, and as we've seen from the print quality, not as much as Battle Styles with Chilling Reign from a quantity standpoint, but the print quality, they're pumping those 24/7 365 with burn marks on them. So I think that like I think that they had to not put a Charizard in a set. Like you can't just, it's a nice breather, you know, for the hobby.
But I think from a popularity standpoint, they had to take it back because of, I mean, everybody chases that Charizard. Like OG Retro and myself have talked about like that Tyranitar is like a cool card, but people aren't like, Tyranitar is my favorite Pokemon.
Yeah, no, and I'll just go buy the card if I want it. Yeah, I'm not gonna rip a million packs of Battle Styles to pull that.
Here's the thing, though.
Hear me out
on this one, though. Sealed Pokemon is sealed Pokemon. If you get, like, look at a set like Crimson Invasion or Steam Siege, even two of the worst modern sets arguably ever, with zero Crimson Invasion has that one cool Gyarados we both like, Connor.
Yeah.
Right? That's a cool card. It's a very similar battle style situation though, where there's like that one cool card and then everything else dog shit. Steam Siege even worse. Like Gardevoir and Steelix are the cards in that set, and the 2 full arts like aren't even that cool. So it's just like, but the booster boxes are selling for over MSRP, selling for over what they came out for. All of that sealed product has appreciated. So I think no matter what battle styles,
I don't know.
I
But
hate
is
to
there
say
like
it.
was there less
Well,
printed with these Crimson Invasion and Steam Siege with
no,
I
but
guess
here's what happened. Okay, so it's really important to understand historical context of what was happening in the hobby. So I always like get them mixed up. I think it was with with Steam Siege maybe. Was that when like the bulk bubble busted? So like there was a period where
Yeah.
you could sell bulk for like a ridiculous amount per card, right? Like whatever, 8 cents instead of half a cent, right?
Right.
And then it just went off a cliff downward.
Right.
And a big part of that, like because of the time frame that those sets came out in, it killed the popularity of some of them. That's why a lot of them are like seen as really hated, quote unquote, or less loved sets in conjunction with the chase, the lack of chase.
Yeah, and Pokemon, it was at
Oh
a
yeah,
time when
overall.
Pokemon overall was at a low. Like you had
Yeah.
the Switch games weren't out yet. You had Pokemon Go just barely coming out, so that
but I don't know if
started the resurgence.
Pokemon Go really didn't. I personally feel maybe I just wasn't in the whole Pokemon card community at that point as much as I am now.
No,
But I
that
feel like
totally started it.
Pokemon Go didn't have as much of an effect on trading cards as it did like the
It
actual
did, bro.
games. I saw the games really shoot up in price.
I think trading cards, that's when it started, because you had Pokemon Go and XY Evolutions come out at the same time. It was and that's when I got back into trading cards heavy. I think it was just a good time. But then
I will say that
the bubble
Nintendo,
burst that Connor's talking about happened after what we're talking about right now. It happened after like during the middle of the XY era.
yeah, it's happened a couple of times, but yeah. But I will say though, to your point, Ryan, like Nintendo and subsequently the Pokemon company underneath is very smart and very strategic about what they do.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it was any mistake with kind of that perfect storm around the 20th anniversary that pulled a lot of people back into the hype. And I think they're attempting to do the same thing here. You see it a lot with a lot of the co-brand, like, the freaking Oreos they're teasing that they're going to put out, and the Katy Perry stuff and all this stuff. It's as much, the Levi's stuff, all this stuff, right? That is all strategically placed in different areas that doesn't necessarily have like overlapping organic demand, but becomes overlapping because people who like love the trading cards are like, oh, I want this, and these jeans and these Oreos and these, this whatever, and watch the music video and go to the concert, whatever. So
and then you just bring in the people to Pokemon who are like fans of Katy Perry or those like streetwear like hype beasts who like Levi's, and they see the Pokemon collab and then they're getting into that. I mean, we've seen just in the Pokemon cards and video games, we've seen a lot of like the sneaker heads coming in resell. Oh, he's got his Levi's collab hat on.
Nice.
It's that Mario joint.
Nice.
It's pretty sweet. It is pretty cool, man. They do good stuff. Nintendo and Levi's do cool things together. I'm just gonna say it.
I will say though,
I think there's this wild, but
I think there's this thing with modern product where like people have this fallacy of it can't fall below MSRP, and that you're like safe somehow by like buying it even for the long term just because you bought it like as close to MSRP as possible. And like I don't think that's a real thing. And I think we've like seen it even acutely. And that was different because like, some people just had to dump stuff to have money for the next wave of things. But I don't think that like, I think there is a potential where, especially because there is so much it's to our, what we talked about earlier, so many cards in a set, so many sets coming out. People get a little overwhelmed, and some sets can kind of fall by the wayside.
We've talked about that here on the podcast before. How do you feel about the timetable of how?
Before you go into that, though, I just want to say, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but like Chilling Reign, the newest set, the cards are still like, there are so many like above $50 cards, but so many above $20 cards. Like the secondary market on this newest set is pretty wild.
Is it just because it's new though?
Yeah, a little bit because of that. I mean, a lot of it because of that, but a lot of these cards are still going to sell or like with decent prices, I think. Like it's a good product. I besides the quality control, like a lot of the cards are very, very sought after. You have the 3 legendary birds, amazing alternate arts. You have you have Celebi, rainbow rares, you got crazy full art trainers. So I don't know. It's just an interesting, I feel like it's kind of one that people are not overlooking. It's selling pretty well, I think, but I don't know.
No, I think Chilling Reign's cool.
They printed a lot of it.
I think that this is totally anecdotal. Like for me personally, I'm going to buy less of it, buy more of Eevee Heroes, and then wait for 25th anniversary. Like might not buy any Evolving Skies. I don't know. It's like when you're operating within a budget, you gotta like pick and choose, right? How much you can do. So, but that's just a preference thing for sure. Yeah. I think that Chilling Reign is by far a way better set than Battle Styles, but that's just for me as a collector. From a playability standpoint, Battle Styles is bringing in and introducing a whole different game mechanic that's like going to be highly sought after. So that's what you always got to think about too. Like the prices of some of these cards, especially with like more people playing again, because things are reopened, prices are a function of both rarity and like desire from like a art or like, pull rate standpoint, but also playability, right? And what plays well in a deck, which I know very little about, but just know I'm understanding more what features, especially as I go to my LGS and I show them cards I have and they tell me why, shout out Millennium Games for teaching me why these gold star or these, gold trainer cards are actually sought after from a playability standpoint, not just because they're gold and shiny. So it's interesting.
Pulled one last night in the stream.
Hey.
Yeah, that's
cool. But Kuzi, were you gonna ask something?
I was gonna say, like, what we've talked about in the podcast before. What are your thoughts on how often the Pokemon Company produces in sets, puts out new sets? Do you think it's too fast?
Well, the funny thing, here's what I think. Okay, I think it's more that the sets are so big.
Yeah.
Because if you look at the timeline of Pokemon and when Pokemon first come out and it was that peak hype, late 1990s into early 2000s, they were pumping those things out set after set after set. Right, like if you look at how Jungle and Fossil and Rocket came, like it was like you couldn't even go to the store and get one before the next one was in the shelf behind it. So I think the cycle's okay. Especially because at the end of the day, it is a player's game. I think over time they're going to get more bifurcated in like collector sets and playability sets. I think I like how they do it in Japan because they split the sets, they put out special smaller sets, but that's like a different market and has had a different like market trend and cycle over time. And it's a different culture. Maybe it's something about the minimalism. I really don't know. I haven't, for as much as I love Japanese cards, I don't study the modern thought process of Pokemon Company Japan when it comes to distribution. But no, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. And I think that there's enough time in between. It's not crazy. But the sets are so big that like that's like set collectors, it makes it really hard because you're like a third of the way through and the next set's already out.
Right.
So I can see that being like tough for collectors.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys think? I know you've talked about it before, but
yeah, no, I have pretty much just exactly the same thoughts as you.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I mean,
it'll probably slow. The other thing I'd say is like, it'll depend on demand, I think.
Yeah.
Right. I think it'll depend on demand, what part of the cycle Pokemon's in. I'm excited for them to start putting out more alternative media, right? Like, where is this movie that came out in Japan that we're supposed to get? Are we going to find out who Ash's dad is or not? Like, I just want to know, like other parts of the IP. I'm super excited to come out more and more. I mean, these new video games, like the Arceus game looks awesome, like that kind of stuff.
Right.
It hits different, hits a different part of it's a different part of the IP, a different way of collecting, a different way of enjoying this hobby that we love. So I'd like to see more things move in tandem a little more as far as like the cards and the other parts of the IP.
Hashtag bring back e-reader cards, bro.
That'd be so, if they did like a collab, something with like the Switch.
Like, that's what I'm saying. That would be so cool.
What if they did like
the Nintendo Switch trading card game for the Switch?
I was gonna that, or like what?
Dude,
if
I used to love that game on Game Boy.
Or just port
e-readers with like amiibos, and they did something along that line.
That would be very cool. But port the.
Am I about to say NFTs? Yeah, probably.
There you go.
Yeah.
Also that, but port the trading card game that they have on PC to Switch. Like that would be so cool.
Yeah, and play wirelessly with your friends.
Exactly.
Like, through the internet capabilities of the Switch. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Because you could you could play card games like that on your phone. Like Hearthstone works on your phone. You could definitely play that on the Switch, no problem.
What if instead of code cards, they just started putting the QR code like on the back of every card?
That'd be crazy. I mean, it's
wild.
It's a thing. It could happen.
Yeah,
you'd hide like a little QR code in the bottom or something. I don't know.
But, true. You could do something. It'd be interesting. Yeah. They've got a lot of opportunity. Like I mean, it's funny we're recording this today because like a million things happened in the collectibles world today.
CGC just got bought out, didn't they?
CGC got bought by Blackstone Tac Ops, which is part of their private equity arm. Golden Auctions sold to Steve Cohen's group, who owns PSA. Let's see what else happened. Something else. A lot of big moves. PSA reopening at higher prices and only Express, and we know all the other tiers are going to be more expensive when they eventually roll out again. So a lot happened today, but I think that big money coming into the hobby, as long as they don't like screw it up, especially like the private equity guys. I think that it's going to be super good for the hobby long term. Like, I think it gives more validity and stability, and it helps like pull some of the stuff out of like the 1990s and into today in a good way.
Yeah,
I agree.
So we're kind of running out of time here. It's been a jumbled episode, but that's what happens when we have a guest on. We just like to get their information, where they're from, and what they think about current markets, collecting, just things in general. It's been fun. But we did ask on our Instagram every Wednesday or Thursday mornings, if I forget on Wednesdays, we asked for a question of the week at Cards Cartridges Podcast. Feel free to shoot us a question there, anything about cards or cartridges, for a chance to be featured on that week's episode. We got a great question from our boy Nino Dalton 2. Nino Dalton 2 asks, what's the Pokemon team you take with you in real life?
Ooh. Six Pokemans. Who's going first?
Yes, I wrote down, so I was prepared because I saw the question early. So I guess I can go first. Give you guys a minute to think.
All right, I'll go last.
All right, first one that came to mind. No idea why, but I think he's just a badass. Would be Blaziken. I feel like Blaziken would just mess some people up.
I was gonna say that's like a bodyguard, bro. That's like a permanent bodyguard.
Blaziken, badass.
I agree.
One of my favorite water Pokemon, because I kind of thought about like, I need somebody to like fly. I kind of got the different moves in my mind. I picked one from each person. So for my water Pokemon, I went with Wailord. I feel like Wailord's also just a badass Pokemon. That would be cool. Going for my flying type, I picked Latios.
Okay. All right, that's good.
I'd go with Latios. Rock, I went with Onyx. I loved
Onyx is cool.
I loved catching on, or you couldn't you couldn't even catch Onyx in the games. Didn't you have to like use something to evolve? Or
No,
am I
you
totally
caught
wrong?
Onyx. You're totally
You
wrong.
Yeah.
Kuzi's showing his flying colors
Tried.
again.
I
You
tried.
would catch him in
Tried.
Rock Tunnel or in
Rock Tunnel,
any
baby.
of the
There's
caves.
a lot of
Yeah.
places you can catch Onyx.
I thought it was
Side
only-
note, crazy in the new games that you can just like catch any Pokemon anywhere. It seems like
Was
it-
very
there's-
off-putting as a
there
new
was a-
Switch user. Confuses me.
There was a rock Pokemon where you use something special to evolve them. Was it Geodude?
Well, okay, so you have to trade Graveler
That's
to get
what it was.
to evolve into Golem.
I knew there was something there. All right, so Onyx, and then I also went with Pikachu. Pikachu, just like your best buddy, he's gonna follow behind you and be that guy.
I like
And then my sixth one, totally an oddball, but I love penguins, so I went with Piplup.
Nice.
Okay. I got 6, dude. This is sick. All right, here we go. Number 1, Lapras. Lapras is the water Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Absolute beast unit. He knows surf. Number 1. We will be riding the 7 seas in style on Lapras, and he can learn Blizzard, so we can go skiing pretty much everywhere. He'll just make snow and we can just go skiing. So that's sick. Then this is gonna surprise some people, and you guys are even gonna be surprised. Are you ready? Ditto, dude. Ditto would be the second
That's a good
choice for a
one.
Pokemon in real life. Oh, Connor's got Ditto on his. And see, but here's the reason, dude. He could just turn into anything. I could just copy anything. Ditto can just do anything. I like it. Ditto is a very convenient Pokemon to have in real life. Third choice, this is just classic. We're going Umbreon. Umbreon is another just easy choice here. Cute Pokemon, but also a little sinister. Could probably like make it turn into nighttime. We could go to sleep quicker or something. That'd
Go
be
to sleep
cool.
quicker.
Yeah, it's good. We got the 4th Pokemon. We got Lugia, and that's my
I knew
flying
that was coming.
Yeah, that's the flying Pokemon. We're gonna jump on there, and it's basically like a private jet because it's huge, and that's fire. And it could probably it could start tornadoes and stuff, which I don't know if that'd be beneficial, but it's cool. We got Mew, not Mewtwo, just Mew. And that is because Mewtwo's a little too rambunctious, a little too out there, a little too off the cusp, over the edge, off the meds. And so Mew will be the nice middle ground there, and that's a nice psychic Pokemon. Then lastly, when I want to go really fast on land and want to like stun on land, kind of like riding a horse or something, we're going Arcanine. Arcanine for the land Pokemon. Trailblazer, can run really fast and we can just go across lands.
Love it.
There we go.
Love
Team
it.
is 6.
Gosh. All right. So I have a lot of overlap with that. So I'm gonna like switch it up a little bit. But
No,
first
but I'm
one
curious
comes.
to know which were the overlaps.
Okay. I'll try to we'll see how it goes. So Machamp, because number 1, he's your bodyguard. 2, we
That's
would
smart.
work out together. It'd be
Right.
super fun. He has
That's
4
smart.
arms. It's not fair, but he's my
Right.
guy.
That's smart.
Pikachu, because Togepi is impractical and Pikachu is the best because I loved Pokemon Yellow and it's just cute and adorable. And it's like having a puppy. It just attracts the right people,
Exactly.
you know, get
That's
the ladies
true.
coming in.
That's true.
I was gonna say Moltres for flying, but I feel like that would be really
That's
painful.
impractical.
Impractical. So I'm gonna pick Aerodactyl instead.
Practical.
Cool, slept on Pokemon.
100%
Has,
slept on.
versatile
Very dope.
claws, totally slept on. I am also picking Lapras for my water
Yeah,
Pokemon because
got it.
Gyarados is my favorite, but also impractical. I mean, what am I going to do with that thing? I can
Surface
dock a
area.
Lapras. I can
Exactly.
just put it right in the
Dock
dock.
It's either a private island, like exactly. A Lapras is
he's
very
right
surface
there.
area is just not good. Lapras is good.
I gotta also say Ditto. That was on my list 100%. So versatile, right? And
That
get
was my
anything I need
thought.
to get done.
Yep.
And I think the last one I'm gonna pick, and this is really because I think in life we're always going a million miles an hour and you always want someone you can just step back and chill with. I'm gonna pick Slow King.
No,
Because
no.
I feel like he would
He would
just
be chilling.
sit with me and chill.
My
Ooh,
two
maybe
honorable
Hypno,
Calm me
mentions.
too.
down.
My two
Hypno
honorable
could-
mentions
yeah.
were Snorlax, just because he's kind of like that chill dude. And you could take a nap on him anywhere you
Yeah.
wanted. And then like Gengar. Gengar's just like
Ooh,
that
yes.
badass. Just yes.
I was
Gengar
worried
would
he
be
might
dope.
scare people away, so I didn't pick him. But
Yeah.
I love Gengar. Oh,
Yeah, Gengar's huge.
I love all these.
Oh
I love
man, I'm trying to
Pokemon
think.
so
What's a
much.
good honorable mention? I feel like Hypno. When you said the other one that would just
Hypno
chill with
weirds
you.
me out.
Yeah,
It's
Hypno
good-
could
every-
just hypnotize you. Oh, you could, dude, Smeargle. You could just have a painting buddy. If
It's
you had
true.
Smeargle, you could just do art with him. That'd be
Oh,
cool.
it's so true.
There's
Don
a couple.
Fan would be really fun to travel on because he's just a
100%,
unit.
just a roommate. Yeah. There's a couple of really good ones. Like some of the ice Pokemon you can make like ice skate hockey rinks, Delibird maybe. There's some
Such a
good
Gen 1,
ones.
Gen 2 guy. I'm so
Oh,
bad at
100%.
remembering all these Pokemon.
Yeah.
God, there's so many good ones. There's so many good
ones.
ones.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, that was a great question, Nino Dalton.
Oh, what a great question. Shout out to that guy.
Shout out Nino. I love it, man. Well,
Rock Pokemon, where can we find you on Instagram and YouTube?
All right. It's easy. It's Rock Pokemon. That's ROC as in Rochester, not as in rock like the thing in the ground. ROC Pokemon, Instagram, YouTube. Look for videos every Monday, Market Mondays, where I try
Love
to help
it.
you guys not make bad decisions. And yeah, really appreciate you guys having me. This was super
this was
fun. I know
fun.
I can be a talker, so
Real
No,
quick,
this
we
was
went a
awesome.
lot of directions,
Connor.
but I think people like it. Yes, sir.
Connor, as a financial guru, would it be a smart financial decision to come to the OG Retro and Kuzi Retro Games claim sale and spend your money with us?
Absolutely, because these guys are fair, they're trustworthy, they give you great deals,
I love it.
Shameless
The
plug.
plug.
and 5% off if you pay with crypto, I hear.
That's
Yes.
true. 5% off if you pay with crypto. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Once again, this was episode 20, and to many more, the Cards and Cartridges podcast. Much, much love. Until next time, peace.
See ya.
See ya.